Hello everyone, welcome to Media Crash. Today we are going to be talking about the fighting game genre, and we have with us Corey, otherwise known as HDC. My name is Holden, otherwise known as Time to Grind.
My name is Daniel, otherwise known as Not Daniel.
Matthew Cullens, also known as Sutter.
Yes, and so we're going to be talking about fighting games and just like all of our favorite fighting games, but I think I want to first have you kind of talk about Super Smash Brothers Melee in particular, but just, you know, about in general, because that is your pretty much entire lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah, Melee's one of the funnest fighting games I've ever played. It's just the movement, the fighting style. It's just so different from every other fighting game. Most platformer fighting games, so same thing with Rivals, right? Because you dash dance, you try to bait and punish a lot, which you do in other fighting games, but it's more heavily based on movement, which I love. Being able to move around just looks sick when you play. That's the greatest part about Melee, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But mastering the game is also incredibly hard, which is another reason why I love Melee. But Smash as a whole is sick. Smash Ultimate has the same thing, a little different though, more on the less execution side, but more on the heavy like neutral game part where you're trying to find the first hit. I think that's sick too. But Melee is also like that, but more on the punish game side.
Yeah,
because,
and
no, you're good. But punish game is mainly because in Melee there's the combo system. There's a lot more hits though, so you can actually like follow up more. But yeah,
and I was gonna say, Corey here, he's being modest. He's not bringing it up, so we have to bring it up. But he is he does it in a bunch of like tournaments and stuff in San Antonio. And are you still in like the top 10 of all the San Antonio players?
Yeah, I'm currently like number 9 or 8, but that's before COVID. I'm not sure where I am.
There might have been some really sweaty people that just bunkered down and.
Yeah, I right now I believe before pre-COVID I was 7 or 8.
8th best in all of San Antonio.
Yeah, it's around there. But yeah, it's pretty sick.
And I easily the most qualified person in the room to be talking
about fighting games. Yeah, we've been wanting to talk about fighting games for a while, and we're like, we have to wait until Corey is in town, and he is, and that's why we're doing it.
Move the whole studio to San Antonio.
Yes, we're actually coming from you live in not at all, but I think Super Smash Brothers, just regardless of which specific game, it's probably one of the games that someone is most likely to have played if they've played any fighting game. You know, it's definitely the most popular. Brawl was on the Wii. I know Brawl's like probably not the best, but
in this decade,
it's when I grew up.
But I'd probably say like in earlier decades, probably like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
Yeah,
but just like now,
like in the arcade phase where it was like in the because I'm pretty sure Mortal Kombat was the first like.
Very popular one, at least.
I know it was either the first fighting game ever or it was the most popular. I do know for a fact though that the original Mortal Kombat is what caused the ESRB rating to be created.
Yeah.
Because people were ripping spines out of each other and stuff, and the government started being like, yo.
I want it to be known that humans were violent sociopaths long before the advent of video games.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so like, and the other thing I wanted to say about Smash as well is, because you were talking about like platform fighters and everything, for the most part, I really don't like traditional fighting games like Mortal Kombat. I don't know about you guys, but like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and stuff. I think platform fighters I've always liked. Yeah. And then I really like quirky ones like Lethal League and stuff that I'm sure we'll talk about, in a little bit.
Is my shit.
But yeah, so I mean, like, because out of all the, do you guys like more traditional fighting games as well, or like, what?
Well, you see, Time to Grind Gaming, I am bad at video games, so fighting games are kind of hard for me because, like, it does take a lot of time and dedication, which is a good thing. You know, it's a high skill ceiling, but it also means if you aren't all that into it, if you're more of a casual
it's hard to play
gamer,
casually. Yeah.
You know, I'm not like any PUBG on my iPhone level casual, but I just, can't put that much time into it. But fighting games are still fun in spite of that when you get paired with someone of like a similar skill to yourself. Yeah. That's when I think it's most fun. Not when you're like completely clapping someone else or getting clapped yourself incredibly hard. I think it's the most fun when like there's back and forth.
Yeah, no, it definitely is like that. Like when I play Melee and I play someone near my skill level, it's always fun because you can see the level of neutral game and mind game and punish game. It's all happening at our level. I mean, obviously, if I play someone way better than me, he knows that I'm gonna fall for something, and he just keeps going for it, and I obviously keep falling for it, so I just keep getting clapped. But I like that because I learned from that eventually. But I can understand as a casual, you don't like getting clapped. It's not fun.
Right.
Like, so that's pretty much it.
And that's why I think Super Smash Brothers probably has the biggest player base, because even though it can be like Ultimate, it is a super casual, not as casual as like say Brawl with random tripping to try to bring the level the playing field, but like with having so many different game modes and ways people play, you have the when you talk about Super Smash Brothers, most people either think of two different things. They think of 1v1, no items, like 6 or 7 maps legal, and then you have probably 90% of the other players realistically that are playing on these massive maps with all the items on high, maybe playing with custom move sets in I don't think that's in Ultimate, but in 4 anyways.
I consider that more of like a party game than a fighting game.
Yeah.
For me, it's a fighting game when it's like a set of specific like rules and mechanics that have like limited RNG if there is RNG, which you use and master to beat someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like competition's definitely the biggest part of fighting games because there's not a lot of other games where it's just you and one other person maybe. Or maybe more if you're in like, all items on huge map mode.
Yeah.
Where it's just you and one other person seeing who's better. Yeah, fighting.
Yeah, that's the best part for me in fighting games. Because you can tell, like when I play Melee and I face someone online, especially online, but because people get really mad online, you can tell just by the way they're moving in Melee or just in most Smash games that they're just angry.
You can sense the anger from their movement.
Because that is an actual
They're just like
thing.
shaking their controller.
They're just literally just pressing buttons. That's what they do. Because once you get angry, you take a lot more risk. You feel a lot like, screw this guy. I just want to go in there and just kick him. Like I just want to destroy him. But obviously, I know he's thinking that, so I'm just not going to let him run me over. So that's why I love about fighting games or any game where you can express yourself, because you can tell that the guy's mad, and you can tell if I'm mad too. You can tell if another guy's scared because he keeps run away, and
those mind games are like a really cool part about, because like you can have that a little bit in like tactical shooters or stuff like CS:GO, but nothing to the level of like mind gaming people in fighting games, because like tech chasing and stuff where like they could you hit them and then they could either go left or right, and you have to like predict which way they're going to go based on past things that they've done.
I was gonna say the thing I like about the gameplay of fighting games is it explores like most games with combat. It's literally just pressing an attack button on a guy, and they sometimes can block. But in a fighting game, when it's all just focused on 2 guys fighting, you can really get into like how like air control and like
just have like a bunch of depth and stuff.
And I think that's really cool. But I think I just prefer games that have like at least a fraction of that tech, but in a more like adventure world.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily like fighting games as much as like the more weird ones.
Like a beat 'em up or something, or
beat 'em ups
like
are cool.
The Naruto fighting games
kind of too, that as well, but also like For Honor in a way, kind of.
Yeah.
Or like they had the single player.
Or like Devil May Cry, where you have like a huge move set and it's PvE.
But not just, it doesn't have to be necessarily, but it can also be multiplayer in For Honor, where you have like a third dimension to like run. You can attack this guy or 2 guys. I know the 2-on-1 is a little wonky.
Yeah.
But I like that you can do that.
I would pay $1 million bajillion to see competitive Devil May Cry, because like just the player versus enemy looks so sick in that game. You're just juggling people around. I'd love to see what that community would do with like a proper fighting system.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That makes me think of the Marvel versus Capcom fighting games, because in those it's like you can do like 10 different moves and they all do like 10% health, and then so the whole gameplay is you're just juggling people in the air for like, at least from a casual perspective, I know this might not be how it is, but you have to do like 50 combos in a row perfectly executed and juggle them in the air, and they can't do anything, and then you deal like half their health and stuff.
Yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom is like actually one of the most insane fighting games. Like you just look at it and you're like, what the hell is going on? There's like so many projectiles on the screen. There's like all that, and you watch pros, they're just dodging every single one. They're just weaving in between. Then they get one hit and they convert perfectly. It's insane. And on top of that, there's like assist on that, and if they assist, like the guy comes in, and if you time it perfectly, you can combo both of them, dealing health damage to both of them at the exact same time. And that's like that's a main thing in the team fighting games.
Yeah.
Man, dude, fighting games are sick.
Yeah, like because that's one of the. It's probably because I'm a casual player and I don't have like as much time. Like with Melee and like Smash in particular, I think I can I'm pretty good, but like I just don't like having to memorize and learn a bunch of like combos. Like I think combos in particular are one of the things I hate the most. And I know you might. I don't know if you disagree or agree with me on that.
I kind of disagree, but that's fine.
Like I like natural combos like in Smash where you have very simple moves. It's like you have two different like attack buttons and then you have the directional attacks and they change if they're in the air. But like I don't like the things where you have to go like up, left, B, A, start, select, specific
commands.
Commands because then it's like I'm having to memorize a bunch of stuff. I would rather have a character that has a bunch of moves and then I have to learn how to make their moves work together. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
And then Marvel vs. Capcom just takes it to another level that I hate and can't stand because it's that on cocaine.
It's even worse. Yeah, the command inputs are they do need it to be like that in those kinds of fighting games because that's how the game's balanced. Because if you could DP without doing a Z motion, which is forward, down, right, someone would jump at you. And you could just instantly react with an invincible move that anti-airs them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that movement actually is a barrier because now you have to react very quickly and do that movement.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a balancing mechanism, which is why it's needed, but it is annoying to learn, right? Because you have to put in, there is no way around it. You just have to put in the hours to learn those movements. Whereas in Melee, Smash in general, it's the movement and aerials are not hard to do.
Yeah.
They're just easy and they flow together and they're a lot easier to learn. But they're hard to master still.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to know, you have to have the intuition on know what links into what. And because you're going to get so many situations thrown at you and you just need to know what to do in that situation.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
So I guess like kind of bridging the gap, because I know another one of the fighting games that we've all played, you kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but For Honor. So I don't know.
I have not played For Honor.
I thought I remember playing with.
No.
Okay.
I've played Mordhau, which I want to talk about later, but have not played For Honor.
Okay. Well, yeah. For Honor is pretty. You want to like kind of explain what For Honor was?
For Honor, well, it's probably one of the most popular versions of these medieval fighting games, where
Mordhau is better.
I don't know, but
draft.
it's also medieval, more just sword fighting because there's 3 factions and only one of them is like medieval themed. The other, well, I guess Vikings are medieval. Never mind. It's more of a historical fantasy game where it's some guy just came up with knights versus samurai versus Vikings, and then a DLC later on where you fight Chinese guys. I think Chinese the units, the infantry, the warriors. Yeah, the culture, it's surprisingly in depth in some ways. I guess where I can argue.
Yeah.
That.
No, I do think it's really depth.
I think just when we first played, it was not the best balance.
Mainly because the game does the thing where you have 3 positions you can put your sword at, and the other person can also have 3, and some characters can switch that out. And
yeah. So it's almost like a rock paper scissors almost in a way, because it's like you have like a triangle. I don't know why I was having so hard making a triangle, but you have 3 different ways you can hold your sword. So maybe you could have it on the right, left, and I think maybe down was blocking.
Down.
Or,
all of them were blocking, but so if someone came at you at the top right, you had to go to the top right to block.
Yeah.
So actually, no, wait, it was.
No, I think you're right. So if you have your stance on the top right and then you would do an attack, you'll do an attack top right.
Yeah.
So then if you want to block, you have to be physically holding your sword top right to block it. And then there's heavy attacks and light attacks, and all the different characters were quirky in their own ways. But I remember we played probably about 100 hours in the beta, and I remember there was a beta tournament and there was this one broken character. I can't remember what it was. It was some poison. It was a really fast poison chick or something. I don't know.
It was something else.
But yeah, that was a fun game, and it kind of goes to what Matthew was saying, where you could do 2v2s as well. And so what everybody did, if you were honorable, you both would have your 1v1s, and then if you both opposite sides won, then you would fight each other. But then you'd have those assholes that weren't honorable, and they would just be one of them would leave their fight and just bum rush the other and try to get a quick 2v1, and then
which I admit the gameplay around that was wonky and it's not really fair.
Yeah.
But it's what I like. I like the idea of the gameplay is mixed in with movement and stuff. You move around rather than
Oh yeah, because like it was because that's a whole nother part of fighting games. It's like you have your platform fighters, then you have like your traditional, fighters, but then you have like 3D fighters, like what are some other, like kind of
Soul
like
Calibur?
3D, yeah, like Soul Calibur. That's what I
Calibur,
was thinking
Tekken.
of. Yeah, Tekken.
Those Tekken's also-
Pokken.
yeah, Tekken's another like really confusing fighting game, really hard. Probably like on the level of like Guilty Gear and Melee. Though that game is unbelievably hard. But yeah, that game's sick. But back to For Honor really quick. I realize it's an upside down triangle.
It's an up. Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Because it's the guy comes in with the
Overhead.
overhead. Yeah, because I played the Raider.
And here's the thing.
Yeah, he has a lot of interesting tools, but I didn't like him towards the end because I realized because at first the heavies and everything worked on everyone because everyone was getting used to the game. Then everyone learned how to parry and they realized they could just reactionary parry my heavy, but I could cancel and fade them and whatnot, but it wouldn't work as well as you'd think it would. So that was one thing, and the other thing I didn't like was the guard block. I don't even know what it's called, but you just essentially break someone's guard. That was also pretty reactionary.
I was terrible at that, by the way.
Yeah, but I remember I could never do it on you, and you could never do it on me. So I'm like,
Oh, what? Because we were both like.
yeah, we both would just react perfectly. So we'll just go boom, break. Boom.
Oh, yeah,
because it's
Yeah, because you could try to like break, like you could try to like kind of like push someone, but then like if you did it and the other person did the exact same thing you just did to them with like perfect timing, you just like block it.
yeah. So it was really hard because that was the main thing for Raider to get because if you get that, you get a free heavy and that's a lot of damage. But if you can't do that and your heavies are reactionary parry based or blockable, it just becomes impossible to hit people with heavies. So you have to rely on your lights all the time, and then you might as well just switch characters to another person so you can actually get more damage off your heavies because you can actually land them.
Yeah, I remember. I think I played like the exact opposite type character of you. I think it was like a berserker, and she just had 2 axes. I was just like swinging around with 2 axes, and that was pretty fun.
Yeah, since then I switched because that's how I used to play fighting games. Is I picked the big heavy guy and just wants to fight people. Now I'm like kind of the opposite. I picked the nimble small one who combos people. I think that's just more sick.
Yeah, what did you? Because that's kind of like a universal thing in fighting games. Like the kind of
Yeah, you have your
what
like
type of
heavies
character.
and your like.
Yeah, what do you guys
lighter
prefer?
I almost always pick heavies, like with the exception of Melee, where I play Sheik. Like for the most part, and Mordhau, you get different builds of Mordhau. It's really customizable, but I normally always choose like heavier armor, big weapons over being able to dodge and lighter armor.
Mm-hmm. What kind of characters do you like?
I'm usually going for a good blend where I have a decent like characters with a decent variety. Like I always like playing Johnny Cage in those
Johnny
games.
Cage, yeah, he's sick.
Oh,
He's bulky, but at the same time not. Like he moves around a little
Yeah,
bit.
he's the perfect mix. He has a projectile. It might not be the best projectile, but it's a good use for spacing and whatnot. Whereas some guy might be just full on aggression, but if you keep throwing projectiles on him, it can make it hard to go in. So he has like tools for every matchup, which I like.
I like those guys.
One thing I completely forgot to mention is Dark Souls as a fighting game. A lot of times, when I first played Dark Souls 2, I was progressing pretty steadily until I reached this one point where there's basically a combat arena, and then I spent like the next 20 hours of game time playing
like PvP?
Just PvP, yeah, and like invasions and whatnot. Dark Souls PvP is so fun because it's not balanced at all. You will like join in 1v like 3 or 4 fights because people just have like 2 or 3 summons, and you'll be the one invader there and you'll just get absolutely destroyed. But it's a ton of fun because every once in a while you manage to like kill the host or just be a complete fucking badass and somehow win a 1v4. And the reason I brought it up was because that's actually where I started liking heavyweights more. Because Dark Souls, like, you have a bunch of fast dex-based weapons and you have these weird optimal strategies. But I didn't like any of those. I like the ones where in 2 hits you can kill someone, but you take like a good 30 minutes before you can actually finish your swing.
Because it's always so satisfying. It's like you try. It's like you feel like a boss in a video game. It's like you try and they keep dodging and dipping and weaving, and then when you finally just like smash them across the head with something.
Yeah, I always like facing
it pays off.
Yeah, it's sick. Because even if you're the nimble character, it's still fun to play against heavies because instead, like you feel like the boss, and I feel like I'm playing the boss.
Yeah.
Because like I know if I get hit, that's it. I'm dead. It's just
One thing they did in Dark Souls 3 that made it really hard to play any kind of heavyweight character is they took away this mechanic called poise, which is weird because they had it written out and they had like a value for poise for every single item in the game or every single piece of armor in the game, and they had stuff that boosted your poise, but the stat itself did absolutely nothing. They had it written down for no reason.
Well,
oh, dang.
Yeah.
do you think it was like did they purposely take it out, or like,
Yeah, it must have been like a last minute decision or something.
or like maybe
But
they
it
just like
completely like changed the meta of Dark Souls 3 to be pretty much all dex builds. Dex builds are really, really good, so in Dark Souls 2 meta, they were like most of the builds, but in Dark Souls 3 PvP meta, it's like most of the builds, like pretty much all of them.
mhm.
Yeah. I played Dark Souls 3, and I got to. I'm not sure if you know the DLC area where you have to face a human opponent. It's like in the church.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I finally got humbled in that game. Where I thought I was all sick, dude. I was like, man, I'm killing all these bosses so easily. Then I got to that place. I'm like, I've been parrying. I love parrying in Dark Souls. So I was like, I'm gonna parry these guys. I went for the parry, immediately ran around, backstabbed me. I'm like, oh god. So there are. I was surprised. I'm like, oh yeah, there are really good people in this game. I thought I was
yeah.
like hot shit, but no, I sucked.
Oh, Dark Souls PvP is like the best way to realize that even if you're like good enough to beat Dark Souls, you're still not all that good at Dark Souls.
Yeah.
That's what it did for me too. Cause like you'll meet these people who like, okay, I'm gonna go in for a swing. They like try and bait you out by acting like they're going to parry that swing, but instead of parrying at the last moment, they change their direction, normally backstabbing you because it's really good and does a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's what a lot of people did to me. I'm like, oh man, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So kind of going into, because we've talked about like traditional fighters, we've talked about platform fighters, and I know you guys you're talking about a little bit like Dark Souls. Do you want to? Because I know you've played a lot of Mordhau, like you were saying, and like Chivalry as well.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to talk about like what those type of fighting games were?
That's more of like I'm not sure if this is even a thing, but it's like a fighting game pretty much all based on positioning, like basically distance between yourself and your opponent.
Mhm.
It's like, you know, depending on your movement speed, you can close distance really quickly, or it can take you like a really long time to close distance. Depending on your weapon, you can
Is it spears?
attack. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
spears if you want to attack someone from really far away, or you know, axes if you want to attack really fast but get really close. And you know, axes, you don't have stabs really. You can kind of bunt them with it, but it doesn't really do much. It's mainly based around like trying to outposition your opponent, like get them at weird angles. Because the actual swordplay of Mordhau is like, it's similar to For Honor. There's 8 different moves. There's basically a thrust, overhead, horizontal, and like under.
Mhm.
And there's a left version and a right version of all of those. And you can do this thing called chambering, where if you meet someone else's exact like attack and attack direction, instead of parrying, you basically cancel out their swing and get the startup on your swing immediately, which is really good for fast weapons, but it takes a ton of stamina.
Oh, so I was gonna say,
About,
couldn't-
resource management in fighting games.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a
That's
good thing to bring up.
yeah, that's
That's-
a big thing too.
A big part of Mordhau anyways is just not losing stamina, because as soon as you hear your opponent breathing heavy, that's like the indication they're low in stamina.
Just to go in and just
You have
just-
no reason not to. If they like try and chamber you, they're out of stamina. The next attack you hit, they can't block.
Mhm.
It's great.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like For Honor had that, but like when you think of like more traditional, like a lot of traditional or platform fighters don't have
well,
stamina at all. really.
yeah, it's different. So like 2D fighters, they have bars, right? Meter.
Yeah,
So
but
you
like
can EX. But
yeah.
I would argue Smash kinda has a resource system. It's your health. At least Melee does, because you have a thing called crouch canceling where you can take a move and you essentially have no hit stun, and then you can immediately punish afterwards. So for Captain Falcon, for Fox Snare, it's around 40% where I cannot crouch cancel it. So I'm using my health as a resource to tank a hit and punish him as hard as I can for taking that hit.
Hmm.
So that's like the only really use of like resource management in Smash. But
Yeah.
like other fighting games have it way more. stamina. Yeah, because For Honor also had stamina. That was a big deal. Like your screen went gray if you ran.
Oh yeah, it did like the Call of Duty thing where it was like going black and white.
Because
and
I
stuff.
remember whenever I ran out of stamina, I always went for the meme. I always went for the hit because the light hit because it's really slow. So a lot of people would go because if you parried someone's attack while they're out of stamina, they'll literally fall in For Honor. So everyone would try to parry it, but they'll parry it too early. So I would just get the stupid light hit. It would do like no damage, but they're like, what am I doing? they just felt so dumb afterwards. Yeah, For Honor was pretty sick though.
Yeah. I guess there's a whole nother world of fighting games that I personally love, and they're just like wacky, completely unique fighting games. And like the one I don't know actually. Have you played Lethal League, Matthew? Because I was gonna say we've all played Lethal.
I dabbled a bit, but I didn't play like fully.
Lethal League is a fighting game where instead of you can't even hit your opponents. Instead, there's a baseball and it just bounces all around the world. And if you hit the baseball, it becomes your baseball, and so it won't hit you. But if it hits other people, like in the new one, it'll like either instantly kill them depending on how fast it goes, or it'll just take their health. And so it just keeps getting faster and faster and faster. And that's like honestly one of my favorite fighting games just of all time is Lethal League Blaze, the new one.
Yeah, there's a lot of mix-ups. Yeah, I don't know. That game is so sick. There's so many mix-ups you can do because if you hit the ball, like if you do a jumping forward one, you always will spike it. And if you know that, because at that point, as long as you know the angle it's going at, you can just go to where the ball will go, and you can charge a hit. And if you charge a hit, it won't freeze there. It will just instantly go. And if you do it sideways, you can do 3 different angles. So the guy has to guess on which one you're going to do. He has to essentially read. And he's just in a horrible spot because even if he gets the read, right, the other guy can still go and punish him. So I love Lethal League. There's so many mix-ups and fighting. And yeah, it's really sick.
And I love the theme of it. Like you have like this awesome, like, I don't know, lo-fi? I don't know like what type of music.
More like
not lo-fi, but
or like jet set radio.
Yeah.
That type.
And then like
Sick.
just the art style and like that game's sick. I love that game. I don't know. What are some other ones?
The Candyman players.
Yes, me and Daniel both played as just this guy that just has a yellow sphere as a face, and
Is he the one that says "damn it, damn it, damn it"?
yeah,
he's the,
you can like teleport through walls.
But the one other aspect of fighting games I want to talk about is the fighting games that are just like, let's put a roster of characters people like into a fighting game and people will buy it. And those are my favorite ones because that's what I like about them.
Mortal Kombat has
Mortal Kombat.
Alien, Predator, Jason.
Oh, like I know a lot of games do that as like DLC. Like they'll.
Injustice is just comic books, so I'm fucking all for that.
Oh yeah, Injustice is really cool.
Jump Force. I heard the gameplay.
one?
Yeah.
I heard the
That
gameplay.
is trash.
Yeah, the gameplay, I don't know. I mean, I haven't played it. Right?
I haven't either, so I'm just totally listening to what
but
people said.
I'm never a fan of those kinds of fighting. I mean, there are fighting games. It's too wonky to me. It's too untraditional.
Is it like a 3D? Is
Yeah.
it like Tekken or
3D,
something?
Yeah, but like Tekken, I don't know how to explain it. It's not like because in Tekken you're still like really close to each other. In those games you're like miles away from each other.
Okay, so Tekken's kind of
feels
more
weird.
grounded.
Yeah,
And
Tekken still focus a lot about movement, but I have no idea what those games are based around because you're literally like sometimes miles away from each other, and they have like dashes. So I'm not sure exactly how they work. I'm sure they're balanced in their own right, but it just feels too weird for me to play.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure like what Matthew was saying, I'm like, especially with that one, it's literally just like a bunch of famous like anime characters. So I guarantee that's way like hyper focused on like
Considering
casual.
The fact that Sanji in that game won't play if you pit him against a female character, I don't think that.
Wait,
has
like
too
he
much
literally
He
just does
cannot
nothing.
He cannot
cannot
fight a female character.
I don't think the game was really built for like optimal.
Just
like,
imagine that in a competitive tournament. Imagine if there's a competitive tournament and like it's a pick ban system and it's like the last pick and the guy picks Shinji or Sanji, whatever that is.
Shinji. That'd be very.
Shinji would be
Evangelion.
his command grabs the shot.
We were about to say the same joke. I bet.
That so are there any other like stupid interactions like that in that game?
Not really. I don't
There's
think.
there's other people who won't fight girls as well. I don't remember, but there is, right?
I don't know. I don't think it was Sanji because Sanji made.
So it's just like if you
That's
pick
just
a
like a
girl, if you pick a
shonen
girl
trope,
character
right?
and him, does it start the match
it's a
and then you
team
just
battle.
can't do anything?
It's a team battle.
It's
so,
3v3, so
yeah,
you
so-
just had lost one against that. If the person has all girls, then I guess Sanji's just.
Yeah, Sanji's
So you
literally
really, so
useless.
he's probably one of the worst characters in the entire game. Then
It maybe
I don't know. We don't know
that
the
works.
Like,
female roster though, and we don't
is
know
he
if
like
there's
twice
any.
as good against guys or something?
No,
Like what?
no, I mean it might not be balanced like that, but like
Because that's a whole nother type of fighting games. Is like I don't know what they're called, but like the team fighter where it's
Yeah,
like a 3v3 and you tag in and out. That's like what Marvel. See, that one's cool because it's also superheroes, but it's more of like a comic book like look to it than Injustice. Injustice is just kind of like Mortal Kombat. But
with that just seemed cool. Just being able to just have Monkey D. Luffy versus Goku versus Naruto is always cool. Even though the power level,
yeah, they have a Madara in there too.
but they also have just like a
don't they have Deku?
They also have a really good detective cop as one of the characters, and his ultimate is he just like runs you over with a car. I mean, other fighting games have this problem where like characters obviously are more powerful than others, like Injustice. But that one is just for like, I'm just seeing this guy like shoot his revolver at Goku and Goku go and just like fall back.
Yeah, because speaking of Injustice, isn't Superman bulletproof? Isn't he? So like you have a character Joker where one of his moves is pulling out a revolver and shooting someone. So it's like kind of weird if you're playing Superman, you're getting shot by this revolver.
If you played the story of Injustice, you would know that most of the characters that didn't have superpowers took a pill that made them have Superman strength.
But like,
how does it change the bullet though? Did the bullet get
The
super?
bullet,
Yeah,
the bullet
yeah.
took the pill.
He's shooting pills instead or something.
He secretly has missed his stand.
There's like even more like silly fighting games like Dive Kick, where I know me and you've played Dive Kick, but it's literally there's two buttons in the entire. Well, I guess you can move, so you can move.
No, you don't move. You literally move with the two buttons.
Yeah, so there's literally two buttons on this fighting game. One of them is dive, and one of them is is kick. Yeah, so one of them like you jump up, right? Yeah, so you jump up, and the other one is kick. So if you kick in midair, like you go down, and then are there specials in that game? Like,
Yeah, so you build up a bar. That one also has a resource management, but it's kind of weird. You have a bar that builds up, and if you get all the way, your character goes like rage mode, and you can just go super fast. And they all had different angles or whatever.
And like when you got to the other side of the screen, you turn around. So it's pretty much just it looks just you both keep jumping up and missing each other at the angles and stuff.
Yeah. You always want to try to get above your opponent. So people who jump high usually want to be like, I don't actually, because spacing is that's what that game is. It's just teaching you about spacing. But so if your character jumps like I guess like very low, you want to like just constantly be aggressive, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect at Dive Kick, but yeah, that game's sick because there's also angles where some go straight down, so you want to jump and immediately press it, while others jump up and then go very horizontal, so you actually want to be very far away from your opponent.
And wait for them to maybe jump up or
like
something.
You jump up, because once they jump up, their only option is either wait until they fall all the way down or kick. So if you can get them in like almost a checkmate situation where if they kick, they're going to run into you, or if they don't jump, they're just going to slowly fall, and then you're going to catch up to them eventually.
Yeah. The only other weird fighting game, I'm just kind of like listing these off because I don't know. But the other one that I really liked was Nidhogg.
Yeah, Nidhogg.
Where
I played that so much. Me and a friend of mine named Ben back in high school. After AP testing was done, literally for I think about like the month or two after that, all we would do in class is play Nidhogg or Lethal League every single day. It was great. He got very good at Nidhogg and started kicking my ass.
Yeah, because in that, it's like literally you both have a sword out and you can just, maybe there's like 3 or 4 different heights.
Yeah.
And then like you can like
3 different heights and then throwing.
Oh, and then throwing the knife.
The heights actually do matter because if you're at the lowest height, you could usually roll, and if you're at the lowest height, he'll just roll into your stab.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're at the top height, he could jump, but he'll just jump right into your thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I actually don't know what the middle one was for, but maybe it had the most range or something, or it's the easiest one to react to.
Oh yeah, because also like if someone's thing was up, like say they had their highest and yours was in the middle, and then you went up, you would like you would hit their sword out of their hand, right?
Right, that could be done from any position though. If you were in the third highest and they were in the middle. Yeah, all that matters is you doing the switching.
So maybe that's why middle was good, because you had more.
You had both options.
Yeah. like immediate to you. And then I know they made a second. I never played the second.
I never played the
The
second either.
yeah, the second one introduced a lot of new weapons. I think it's. I
I want
don't
to
think
play
the
that
second
actually
one-
because Nidhogg is like really fun, casual fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Are there any other fighting games that you guys have played that you want to talk about or?
Well, I guess the one really quickly is Dragon Ball Super. That fight. Well, not Dragon Ball Super. Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Oh yeah.
I just really wanted to get into their just how many characters there are because I think there's like 5 different characters. They're all the same. They're all just Goku. You have Goku base form, Goku Super Saiyan, Goku Super Saiyan Blue, Goku. Fuck me, there's so many.
Goku fuck me. That's my
It's just
favorite
like,
one.
There's you have Gogeta, which is technically it's half Goku. You got Kid Goku. I'm not kidding.
And do
There's
they all
this
play
many-
like okay? So the Goku Blue and the other Goku are they like Smash like mirrors? Like
No,
or they
they're
play
all
completely different.
right? They're all different, but like it just. Oh, they also had Ultra Instinct Goku, so it's 6. But or I guess 5.5 because Gogeta is half Goku.
Can you
half
fight
Vegeta.
Ultra Instinct Goku? Because wouldn't that just be like he would just react to you perfectly? But it's fine. It's a fighting game.
Yeah, we-
But I mean, like, it's the same thing. Like, if you're Injustice and you're fighting, well, not Injustice 2, or actually, is that the one where they all took? Either way, if you fight
In
Superman
both
as
games.
Joker, yeah, but
That's
they
one of the
have to like
stupidest plot.
retcon something. Right?
Yeah.
So they probably did something with the plot. I don't know, but yeah.
That's why a lot of them try to do the bullshit where like it's
there's
like a
actually another-
simulation or whatever. It's like it's all just a simulation. But yeah, what were you?
There's another one.
Another Goku?
There's Goku Black.
Wait. Black hair?
Yeah, Black.
Okay,
no,
okay.
Just
Dragon Ball is
Goku in
canceled.
blackface. Oh no.
Yeah, no, but yeah, there's I guess 6.5. So that's kind of insane amount of Gokus in that game. And then there's still like other, I believe, like there's multiple Vegetas. There's like base form, I think, but I'm not.
Imagine I
Do you think
guarantee.
Vegeta's gonna get Ultra Instinct, or does he already
Oh.
have it?
No, he doesn't have it. And then when he tried to activate it in the anime, he just got his kick shit in. He just
Kick shit in.
yeah, kick shit in. Shit
I
kicks
bet,
in.
so imagine in that game, because I guarantee you there's like a character that like is in the anime but isn't in the game yet. And imagine like that being your favorite character and you're just every DLC announcement, you're like, please come on, add my character. And it's like Goku Black, Goku Blue, Super Saiyan Goku. And you're like, motherfucker, like
Right,
I
that's how-
want to play my character.
Yeah, it was actually insane on how many Gokus they added.
That's how it was in Justice when they announced Red Hood is in the second game as DLC.
Who's Red Hood? I can't.
He's the second Robin that turned edgy and has guns.
Oh.
And in the game, it's cool because he not only has 2 guns, but at the end of him, he has tasers. So he'll like flip them around like this will tase you.
Oh my god.
That seems like, I don't know, a gun barrel pointing at you to tase someone. It seems like bad practice.
Yeah, probably, but it's him.
Yeah, it's superheroes.
It's all
whatever.
good. But okay, I know
I'm
we're,
just saying, it's irresponsible design.
it is.
He
So
should,
we're running a little bit
get
low,
sued.
but like, are there any other fighting game? I mean, we all know Brawl, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. That's the best fighting game. So I mean, we don't even have to.
Hey, it balances
discuss
out
that.
for everyone because of the tripping.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't-
honestly, I really like just getting to win.
Chris
for
about
no
to throw
reason.
hands here.
It's
About to have the
actually-
real life
The
fighting game.
trip was so dumb. Why was that in that?
Yeah,
game?
they literally, for you those that you don't know, they just to make it better for casuals, they just introduced a mechanic where your characters could just randomly trip.
Well, it's,
They were just like, or
it's whenever you started a run, your character can
Okay.
randomly trip. So that's actually very important because Meta Knight, why he was so good, he was always in the air. You can't trip in the air. And Marth, this is the dumbest thing too. Marth, one of the main reasons why he was good, his walk speed, not his run speed, his walk speed
was fast. So you just
So
didn't
you
run
literally just walk everywhere.
just to avoid tripping.
Yeah, just to avoid because literally there's Mewtwo King versus like I think Salem. Mewtwo King like either lost or won because his opponent started a trip or he started a run and he tripped and the other person won.
Just bodied him. Yeah.
Yeah, he just converted because at that level, if you see someone trip, you immediately punish and you.
That game treats running as if a bad DM treats like making running a roll, and if you roll an extra one, you trip.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know why it's in the game.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been amazing to actually have someone qualified to, talk about what we're talking
And instead
about.
of normally like, oh yeah, today weday we're doing this genre. Do you know anything? No. Do you know?
Yeah,
I don't.
I've seen like one advertisement for
I've tangentially heard about it. It's somewhere out there.
I know the textbook definition of fantasy.
So, okay, well, thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know if we missed a fighting game that is your favorite fighting game, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.